that stupid. No one was that suicidal. No one was that opposed to children as to functionally nullify the importance of a mother and a father, which is what this legislation does. This legislation says it doesn't matter if you have two dads or two moms, as though God's fundamental creation of one man and one woman as the constituent elements of a family and as important for the raising of children is not important. No culture, Buddhist, Islamic, idolatrous, the pagan Greeks never thought of this. And even though they tolerated homosexuality, especially forms of pedophilia between older men and younger teenage boys, even they considered that any anal intercourse was a great violation. So most of that love was not what we know today, with this outlandish anal sex that's going on and the really rampant spread of sexual diseases because of the interchange of blood through that violent form of sexuality. Even the Greeks didn't do that. And they never suggested that it could be called marriage. So we have never seen this before. We have never seen this before, and we need to tell our culture that. What we're being asked to do is to just go, and really only a very ahistorical people could suggest such a thing. We're being asked to reject not the Bible. It's not about the Bible. This is about common civilization, common sense of civilization, of every culture in the history of the human race, and every religion on the earth. Isn't that rather extreme to be asked by a few judges who are telling us that every civilization and every religion in the history of mankind deny people's rights and have no rational basis for the affirmation that marriage is between a man and a woman? Isn't that just outlandish? You find in the Constitution of the United States a right for same-sex marriage? Come on, tell the truth. Tell the truth. I think when we're asked, what's the big deal? That's how we should answer. We should tell them, look, what are you asking us? You're asking like this is no big deal? We're just supposed to just accept the decision of a few judges? Who are these men who are telling us about these fundamental decisions that, we can, I'm no great historian, we can say that. I'm not any great historian here, not a great scholar, blah, 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 but I've never heard of any people ever doing this before. Where'd you get that? The burden of proof is huge, and it has to be on their shoulders. We can't let it come onto our shoulders. It's not on our shoulders, but we're being taught like it is. The burden of proof is to us to show how this is not an act of injustice to gays. Huh? How did that become our burden of proof? We just push it right back. We got to push it right back. All I'm suggesting is the position that we should take in dialogue and in defense of our positions in order to help people who want to be saved. Because I think that's the calling of the church right now. The calling of the church right now is to be the place where, with the doors open for those who want to know God and to be saved from this crooked and perverse generation. And people who know something's wrong and feel that emptiness in their soul, we have to have our doors open, and we have to be authentic and show that we're still living as Christians have always lived, regardless of the radical change that we see going on socially in our culture. So you're right. I mean, this has been hundreds of years in the making, the growth of secularism in the West, no question about it. I would, however, just throw one other thought out about the points you just made with regards to morality. And that is to simply say that we reject on principle their idea that we're the only ones talking morality here. I have never seen greater moral indignation than in the homosexuals who feel so morally slighted by our laws. And they're all telling us we should, we ought. They're using all the moral language. They're not saying, you can have your own view and we'll have your own view. No. This is right. This is just. And you must bow. That's why tolerance in society in general, when you hear a lot of people talking about tolerance, that's a code word. That means I'm blowing a huge smoke screen right now so that we can change power structures. And once it's done, I'm going to blow the smoke screen away and enforce my new morality on you. So when you hear people saying, tolerance, ask them, what are you selling? What are you really trying to institute in our society? Because this was since 1965 until literally just 5 years ago, that's what it was. All the argument was about from the gays. Tolerance. We just want acceptance. Tolerance. They never even asked for marriage. They've never even liked marriage. They still don't like marriage. You know, I just read a very interesting study that had been done on 1,000 gay couples in the city of San Francisco. It was done simply to see if gay marriage is really just the gay version of heterosexual marriage. And the conclusion was that 90% of all gay marriages have no interest in sexual fidelity at all, on principle. 9 out of 10 married gays in San Francisco don't even believe in fidelity. They don't want fidelity. They think that fidelity is stifling. This is marriage? What you've just done is radically redefine the term. They're using this interest they're taking this interest in marriage in order to change the laws. They puffed up the smoke screen of tolerance. They found themselves in a power position. Now they're seizing it. They're making the heterosexuals bow and Christians lose prominence on the legal arguments so that they can have their way. But they're not interested in our structures. They're not interested in marriage. Marriage has always been. You know, there's treatises till you can't read them anymore in the 20th century, mocking marriage as a patriarchal religious institution. Gays have always hated marriage. And they still do. Even those who have got married, they don't have any concept of 90% of them that we hold. Because there's one thing we don't want to do is become desensitized to grotesque immorality because it's common. This is one of the worst things that can happen to us. And believe it's happening to us all over the place. And when you see something over and over again, you become desensitized to it. So that which should make our stomachs turn and make us vomit must continue to make our stomachs turn and make us vomit. We have no right, no responsibility to just blink and smile and say, pat on the head, everything's great. However, we have to be very careful that we don't punish the children for the sins of the parents. We have to be very, very careful not to do that. And it's these children who are going to help turn the tide away from homosexual perversion in our culture, just like the children who have survived abortion are turning the hearts of Americans against abortion today. I don't know if any of you saw that link I sent out today with Gianna Jessen. I was speechless. I'm trying to find a way to get her here to this parish or to some diocesan event. I was speechless listening to this 32-year-old late-term abortion provider whose mother attempted to kill her. She actually was injected saline solution which was intended to burn her so that she would come out dead out of her mother's womb, and she came out alive. And she shouldn't even be here, let alone be a very capable, intelligent, prophetic young woman. Her speaking ability, and she has spoken before the bigwigs of this world. And who can tell her to be quiet? And she's saying, I am the witness against abortion. And she also was very profoundly critical of our current president, God help him, because he himself 4 times has voted against defending children who accidentally are born alive in botched abortions. Shame on him. Shame on him. And she spoke directly to him. This is our hope, really, is that young persons who are growing up without a father and a mother, without God's intent of having the comfort and protection of a father and a mother, will say, hey, this is wrong. This is wrong.